Xin chào, we're home. How do I introduce myself? I don't even know. Like, I haven't been on my channel for so long, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what exactly I'm gonna do with this channel, but I do know that I want to share my experiences in Vietnam. And to be honest, I would enjoy your feedback, I really want to keep my channel plain, simple, no annoying background noises. That's why I have this little microphone that I spent so much money on. So this video is going to have a whole bunch of different talking points of me around the city, just answering the question that is asked the most about living in Vietnam and stuff like that. So while I am actually sick right now, I thought I should talk about the healthcare in Vietnam. I work in Vietnam, like I work for a school. I'm not a online person or like anyone making money online. What do they call those people? A digital nomad. I'm not a digital nomad. So I work for a company. So most schools are going to give you, all schools, not most, all schools are going to give you some kind of medical aid or something. But even the public healthcare here is really, really good. I broke my nose and a few months later, I went to have it corrected. And that cost me 20 million, 5 days. And when they gave me the entire bill, I could see how much the actual surgery was 1 point something million for the actual surgery. And then I could see like all the prices for the medicine and this care and that care. Public hospital, not the greatest in the world, but wow. Like they did exactly what they needed to do. Super happy. Okay, great. Don't have to do it again. And then recently I went to it's not a government hospital, it's a private hospital that they've just redone, but I mean it's for everyone to go to. And I recently got diagnosed with GERD. So within 3 hours they did my blood work, checked my heart rate, put me to sleep, put a camera in my stomach, and checked everything. So that's freaking amazing. I mean, in my country you would have to wait weeks just to get your results back, and it would cost you thousands of rands in my currency. And on top of that, you need to pay medical aid, and then you still need to pay. Everything just costs so much money. Everything. Oh. The cost of living in Vietnam. I would say that you could survive on 10 million dong a month. You could get a really cheap apartment. You don't need anything fancy. I mean, the weather is always really good in Saigon anyway. So yeah, you don't need to worry about that. It just gets pretty hot. But even though you need to use AC, it's not that expensive for electricity. So I would say that you only need around 10 million actually to survive here, and you could still live in the city. You can still go out and see your friends. You just obviously need to know all the local places to go. How much does your food cost right now?
70K.
70K. A lot of accommodation in Vietnam is going to be apartments, so just be prepared for that. Although it is quite reasonable to rent an entire house for the same price as an apartment here. Typically, places ask you for 2 months deposit, but normally you can get away with one. It just depends how nice the place is. If it's really nice, then you're gonna have to pay 2 months deposit. But if it's pretty average, normally you can negotiate with your landlord too. And it's super easy to rent a place here too. You don't have to get bank statements, you don't have to get a police clearance or anything like that. Normally you can just easily find a place. The apartments will always come fully furnished, so you don't even have to worry about that. It's not really easy to find an apartment empty, but you definitely can if you want to, I don't know, furnish it yourself, but you really don't need to. I currently pay around $900 a month rent, and then obviously on top of that I have my electricity and everything. There's a gym behind me. I'm sitting right here by the pool. It is amazing. Yeah, I'm just enjoying my Saturday afternoon chilling by the pool. It's really amazing. And this pool is also like on the 4th floor.
So culture shock. Initially, when you come here, you're probably going to be overwhelmed by the overwhelming amount of just people that are here, especially in Ho Chi Minh City. Vietnam has a population close to 100 million in a very small country, and everything's kind of compact. Vietnam is the capital for scooters, so you're going to see a lot of scooters everywhere. You might be a little bit scared to try and drive, but I promise you it's not that bad. Almost every single night in the week it will be busy. There's places to go to, things to see. One of the biggest culture shocks for me was this break time that Vietnamese people take in the middle of the day. I couldn't understand it, but now I'm pretty into it, where I know that everything's kind of going to stop and you can just go home and rest. There's no point in trying to do anything in that time. My friend Jamie mentioned the fatigue that he had when he first moved here, trying to remember where everything is. So in Vietnam, you don't have like one location to go to, for example, the general store or the hardware store or something. It's kind of in people's houses all over the place. So I understand that it's kind of exhausting trying to find where to go and to find the things that you need, because not everything is just in one location in Vietnam. As you can see, everything's pretty much in houses behind me. We have the very famous coffee shop apartments right here. Every single apartment is a different coffee shop on different floors. Oh look, you can even go on a tour bus. Look at that. Yes. Down there. How lucky am I to be drinking a bac siu here on a beautiful balcony in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Let's touch a bit on transportation. There are three main apps that people use here to get around. The one is Grab, B, and then I have to think now, Sun SM, which is an electric company started by VinFast. And if you don't know what VinFast is, it is Vietnam's first electric car. I ride a motorbike. I've been riding a motorbike since I got to Vietnam. Definitely not scared of that. I first lived in Da Nang and it was during lockdown, so the roads were really open, so I could just go crazy and drive around. I used to drive a Vespa back in South Africa, but my Vespa had gears, like a really old Vespa. If you are the type of person who's quite nervous to drive, I wouldn't recommend just getting on a motorbike and like driving around. But to be honest, you could easily do that. You could rent a bike for 50 cc's. You do not need a license if you drive a bike for 50 cc. Most places are going to rent a bike to you above that, and they're not going to worry about your license or anything like that. But I do think that you should be well prepared before coming to Saigon and just getting on a bike and driving around. It's not common for people to rent cars, although I think you can. I'm pretty sure that you can rent your own car with an international license. You could even hire a private driver to take you where you want to go, and honestly, for the whole day, it's gonna cost you around 50 bucks. $50 only, maybe even less. Not everywhere you go to is gonna be cheap. We've now just had breakfast at a place called the Running Bean here in District 1. I think it was around 180 for the breakfast and about 60K for just the bac siu coffee, which is pretty expensive considering the fact that you could literally get a bac siu for like 15K. Saigon has such a wide range. You could come and spend a lot of money, or you can come and spend nearly nothing. If you really want to save money, you could literally live just like the local people and obviously get your food from a more local place, which will probably cost you around like 30K only for an entire meal. Something that might also be challenging for some people is learning Vietnamese, and I just want to talk about that for a little bit while I'm on my ride over here, going back home. Learning Vietnamese has been one of the most challenging things, not because it's extremely difficult, but just trying to remember absolutely everything, and there's so many words used for the same thing that sometimes I feel like it's impossible to learn this language, and trust me, it's a full-time job as well. You do not need to know Vietnamese when you come to Vietnam, but I highly, highly encourage you to learn some of it and to speak it, especially if you want to live here long term. I really, really suggest that you learn Vietnamese. One of the best ways to learn the language is to practice with people, to go out, to order in Vietnamese, and just speak to people. And, everyone's very kind, everyone's very friendly, everyone's very willing to help you practice Vietnamese, especially if you let them know that you're studying Vietnamese. I'm currently driving on one of the most famous roads in Ho Chi Minh City. I call it the waterfront because it's right by the water. There's a lot of boats over here. You can actually get on a water taxi and go all the way down to Vung Tau. Here, this is where the water taxi is. Oh look, there's people behind me! Xin chào! Look how incredible that is. One of the things that really surprised me about Vietnam is probably the low crime rates. To be honest with you, I thought that, okay, it's not a very rich country, so maybe they have a lot of petty crime. And they probably do have petty crime. I've personally never experienced it, and I don't know anyone that has. But just be mindful of your property and of your things. Vietnamese people in general are very honest and very, very nice. My friend's left his phone in a Grab car before, and yeah, he got it back.
I've spoken about many topics in this video, but there's one thing I haven't touched on, and that is mental health. To me, mental health is extremely important. I left home really young, and I must say I've pretty much grown up in Vietnam. I've grown up and spent my adult years here overseas just by myself, figuring everything else out, and I wouldn't change it. I would not change it for a thing. I'm so glad that I took the leap and left. The positive outlook that I've received in Vietnam has just changed my perspective, and that is honestly one of the greatest things that could have happened to me. It's made me more positive, it's made me love myself, it's made me care about others more, and I want to share about my experience leaving South Africa and moving to another country at only 23 years old. So I honestly think it was the best decision I could have made for myself. My situation back home was not the best. I really didn't know what I would do if I didn't come to Vietnam. I am a provider for my parents. I help my mom with her car payment right now while she is fighting her battle with cancer. And my dad is no longer needed in his field of work, so he also struggles. And I just want to be really honest and transparent about that. Being in Vietnam has honestly helped my mental health so much. I have the most amazing friends, the most amazing people that care about me, and I think that Vietnam has been such a good environment where I can really explore my thoughts and feelings, and I can grow as a person. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love to share more with you. If you have any video requests, you can please leave them in the comments, or if you have any questions, I will link my TikTok and my Instagram page below. And yeah, I hope to be seeing you soon. Bye bye!